Welcome to Different Facets of Happiness. I'm Jackie Denise. Today, we have an extraordinary guest who blends spirituality, mindfulness, and healing into her life's work. Lisa Erickson is a meditation teacher, energy worker, and author specializing in women's energetics, chakra healing, and trauma recovery. Lisa has many years of experience in meditation and a deep focus on empowering women through spiritual and energy practices. Lisa is transforming lives. She's the author of Chakra Empowerment for Women, and her work integrates mindfulness and trauma sensitivity to help individuals reclaim their inner power and emotional balance. Get ready to explore how chakras connect to healing, empowerment, and even happiness. Lisa Erickson, up next. Lisa Erickson, welcome to the show. So glad to have you on.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So my first question to you, because there are many people that are very new to energy work. Can you explain what is energy work? And a lot of your work is chakra focused. What inspired you to specialize in chakra healing and women's energetics?
Great. Yes. Well, energy work really is working with the levels of our being that maybe we can't see with our physical eyes, but are still present. Really, everything is energy. We know that from science, right? Our physical body, even our thoughts and emotions, they are energy in some form. So, energy body work is acknowledging this level of our being. It's really part of holistic medicine. If you're working with your psyche, if you're working with your physical body, you're also working with energy. So, energy work, there's a lot of different methods of energy work, is a way of connecting directly to that part of you. And I think of our energy body as being this middle area. It connects both to our physical body and to our mind. So it's kind of right in the middle there. Some of the work's more psychological, emotional, some of it is more physical. But it's part of this, whole holistic approach to growth, healing, empowerment, whatever it is that you're working towards. The chakras then in the energy body are like the organs. Like in our physical body, we have a heart, we have a stomach. In our energy body, we have these energy centers called chakras that are kind of the main intersections
Mhm.
of mind, body, and spirit. And each chakra represents different aspects. Each chakra is linked to different parts of our physical body, different emotions. So we're depending on what we're working with in our life, we may focus in on one of our other chakras.
So for just interrupt you for a second, because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still don't know, can we dive into what the chakras are?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, so to me, they're an energy center. That is really the word that I usually use. They're an energy center, and you have this energy anatomy. So you have these energy centers throughout your body. And the main energy centers run parallel to your spine up the center of your body, from your tailbone all the way up to your crown of your head. There's actually many other smaller energy centers throughout your body. And there's energy medicine traditions, including things like acupuncture. And yoga as a physical modality is actually working with these energy centers. You just may not be aware of it, but it was developed around that. And then there's spiritual traditions that developed meditation techniques where you might, for example, focus on your heart chakra in the middle of your chest. You'd actually bring your attention there as your meditation focus, or focus on your third eye. Many people have heard that phrase in
Yes.
their head. So you have these energy centers. You can focus on them. You can work with them in a lot of other ways to bring the energies forth of that center.
Okay. So, because I know you've talked a lot in the past about helping traumatic trauma survivors.
Yeah.
How do chakras help survivors reconnect with their bodies?
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Reconnect with your body, right? Because
Yeah.
talk therapy can be tremendously helpful, but it is mostly about the narrative of what occurred and how it's impacted you. And we now know for trauma in particular, it's about the feelings that were created and the patterns that might have developed, the fears or the coping mechanisms that have developed. One of the coping mechanisms might be disassociating from the body. I work with a lot of sexual trauma survivors, and there can be when they feel overwhelmed, when they feel anxious. Maybe they developed a coping mechanism of sort of checking out. They don't feel connected to their body. So in that case, part of what chakra work, we talk about being grounded. And a lot of people hear this, what does being grounded mean? What it means energetically is being fully connected to those lower chakras down at the base of the spine. So there's a lot of simple techniques that we use to bring someone's focus down all the way to the base of the spine and the feet. Feel connected to the earth. That is really simple energy work. And then affirmations that go with that. As you're feeling that, saying things like, I am safe in my body in this moment. You're trying to repattern, create a new feeling in your body as your default. Create a memory of that, that when you're in a moment, when you start to disconnect,
Uh-huh.
you call upon and use. And over time, it's really just like physical therapy will reshape your body.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
will reshape your default.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. Well, your book is titled Chakra Empowerment for Women. What's the significance of chakra empowerment for women specifically?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, the energy body, our chakras, the energy centers, they are connected both to psyche and to our physical body. So, at the level of biological sex, men and women have different parts.
Yeah.
And one chakra in particular, the second chakra, which is correlated with our pelvic bowl, ties to different parts of the pelvic of the system, right? Every chakra is linked to a gland. So the adrenals are linked to the root chakra for both men and women. But then at the second chakra, it's linked to the prostate for men and the ovaries for women. So there then all of the hormonal differences, because the chakras are also linked to our endocrine system. So there's pieces like that. You don't have to know all that tech, but that's kind of the why. Why is it different? So
Yeah,
what that means in general, the energy body, in general, women's energy bodies are just tend to be a little different than men's, and there's different ways to work with them. And that's why the book focuses on that.
I see. Okay. Well, can you share an example of a powerful chakra-based healing exercise for us?
Yeah. Well, let's just do heart receiving because most of us in any given moment can really utilize that. So just take a moment to place your hands on your chest between your breasts
Okay.
and take right in the center at the breastbone. And you can close or lower your eyes, whatever makes you feel as if you're going inward.
Okay.
And then think about what color of light, of energy, what color represents care and nurturing for me. It's not the same for everyone. Think of that color and imagine that that color of light is pouring in to this center from every direction. You have rays of this color of light coming in through your hands, right into your chest, in through your back, between your shoulder blades, down through your head, down into your heart center, up from the earth, from the sides, from every direction.
It's amazing, if I can just say this. Um, the color that came to mind instantly was not white for me. It was cream. I don't know why.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, wow.
And you get very different answers for this.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of pastels, because people do associate that with kind of nurturing, gentle.
Yeah.
But also sometimes, people will say red, and you'll be like, oh, red for nurturing. But we have these correlations in our mind that are very individual.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
really very, very different. But I have to say that exercise alone within what 1 minute brought me down 10 notches.
Good.
So how do you balance spirituality and science in your work?
Yeah. That is a very good question. In my mind, science hasn't caught up, right? We can
Yeah.
measure so many forms of energy. There have been a lot of attempts to study the chakras. I think the more interesting research so far is how the brain is impacted by contemplative techniques, whether it's meditation or mindfulness. We now know, yes, you can change your brain. If you have a natural sort of stress set point that's really high, with practice, you can change it. And to me, that actually also represents an energy body shift.
Mhm.
There are some studies that really, I mean, the electromagnetic radiation of the heart, the physical organ, the heart, is quite amazing, right?
It is.
So many people, we eventually will have the instruments to, discover what these actual energy centers that people feel in their body, all of these chakras, that they each have a different vibration.
Uh,
So I think that, I mean, there has been some work around that. It's not part of mainstream science yet, but I think it will be someday.
I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. So, although we say someday, there are still a lot of misconceptions about energy healing. What are the common ones that you hear, Lisa?
I think people are like, it's magic. It's not science, right? And I think of it more like in the way we were just talking about it. No, everything in science at one time was unexplainable or unknown. Like we didn't know these little microscopic germs caused illness, right?
True.
So we couldn't see them yet. So I think you can feel how energy impacts you and how energy work impacts you, even though we can't measure yet. It's not magic. It's actually a kind of tech that we just can't measure yet, but you can experience. So the important thing is to try it and see if you benefit from it. Be a scientist in your own life, right?
Right.
Don't think of it as magic because to me, that's not as empowering as viewing it as, oh, this is something I can learn and learn to do for myself. So that's why I like, even though it is kind of magic, but in terms of how it might impact you or how you might feel, I think thinking of it as, no, this is something I can learn
Yes,
and I can do it.
you
Yeah.
can. You can with practice. You're right. So, a lot of people too are also being introduced to manifestation. So, what does manifesting through chakras mean in practical terms?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of talk about in manifesting, try to feel as if you've already achieved, right? And then try to surface whatever is in the way of that, the thoughts or the emotions that prevent you from actually being able to feel as if this is real and possible. So there's a lot of energy work around that. The energy around the emotions that are limiting you and how you can release those, transform those. The other thing that I do with manifesting with the chakras is called the downward path. So I talked about how there's 7 chakras, root to
Yeah.
crown. The upward path is the spiritual. The downward path is manifesting from inspiration and idea down to communicating an idea, working with others in the heart, executing tasks, which is the navel chakra, and then all the way down to the sacral and root, which is birthing something in this world. And when you use that map, it can be very useful to see when I'm trying to manifest something, where do I go wrong? Some people are great visionaries and they can't
Yes.
execute. Some people are great executors, but they can't vision. So it's really a good way of how can I work this whole process
And
of
did that
birth.
help with blockages along the way as well? Once you can, okay, yes.
Exactly. And then you can hone in on where are the blocks. I'm
Oh,
I'm afraid to, maybe it's throat chakra. I'm afraid to express my ideas so they never move past idea stage, right?
right, right.
I
Ah,
have challenges organizing, which is navel. So maybe that's where I need support. I need someone else to help me project plan the tasks I need to do. So it gives you insight into personal blocks, but also what areas you're strong in and what areas you might want to bring support in on.
ah. So, how can mindfulness meditation complement energy work? If we can talk about that, please.
Yeah. So mindfulness is really just being able to stay in presence. When you do basic mindfulness meditation, which is often on the breath,
Yeah.
you're just trying to practice pulling your mind back and staying present. Energy work is just another level of that, becoming present to energies that maybe usually you're too busy to even notice.
Mm.
The subtle shifts going on in your emotions, in your body. And when you tune into that, you can start to shape what you're feeling, what energies you can start to be less reactive. So an emotion comes up and you don't just act on it. You get angry and you just lash out. You're able to take that pause, be like, this is an energy in my body, this emotion, and I have a choice with how I'm going to respond. So that's really the link. Energy work is kind of another level of mindfulness.
Mm. Can you share, and again, the question is, can you, a transformative story from work with a client where, having worked with you, you've seen a difference with, especially with a trauma survivor, one that
Yeah.
was hesitant in using your work, and after that, how they transformed after the energy healing?
Yeah. I think the most transformative are individuals who did have some uh, pattern of disconnecting, disassociating, checking out. So, what that means is whenever there's any anxiety or conflict or potential overwhelm, they would just check out. So, one individual I'm thinking about that really prevented them at work from ever putting themselves out there. They just stayed in their little space. Meetings were very difficult for them. They would never sort of ask for any more. So there was no opportunity for advancement in any way. And obviously, it also held them back in terms of their social life, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
really associated that more with like, oh, I'm just shy. I'm a very inward person, which was true. But they were also very energetically sensitive, and they were kind of never fully in their body, from my perspective, energetically. So we worked a lot with that grounding in the root chakra,
Mhm.
connecting nature and walking the physical body, really strengthening that root chakra. There was some trauma healing that needed to occur around not feeling safe in the body, not feeling safe, feeling like I can't handle it if someone's mad at me. I can't handle it if someone doesn't like what I have to say. That was based on some of their abusive situations in the past, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
building that ability to know I have the ability to stay present in my body, even if there's negative emotions coming at me. I'm safe in this moment. I can choose my response. Over time, they were able to expand their window of tolerance, as we call it in trauma work, where they could go have that difficult conversation with their boss about a promotion. They could go to a social event and say, I'm going to talk to three people, eventually date, all of this kind of stuff. It's this gradual process.
Gradual meaning it could take anywhere. It doesn't just happen in one session. It could be, 1 to 3 to 6 sessions, depending on, how traumatic the case may be.
Exactly. These patterns developed over years, right? So they take time to rewrite. I often do use physical therapy as kind of the model, right? You have to go build different muscles because one was weak after your injury or whatever you had, right? It takes time to build that back up. That's what you're doing with chakra work.
Right, right, right. So how has your own meditation journey influenced your work?
Oh gosh, it's really important to me. Partially, my own spiritual path is what reaffirms my motivation for doing this kind of work.
Yeah.
Tries to keep it pure for me. Like this is, my motivation is to help people because your ego can get involved. Um, it lets me let go. If I'm not the right person for someone, that I just do that in the right way, right? That accept that and move on. It's what helps me get myself out of the way because my own meditation and spiritual practice helps me see myself more clearly. And that makes me a better healer because I'm not bringing myself into the session, what I want for this person or what I think they should be doing, right? Really trying to help them find that for themselves.
My
So,
final question to you, Lisa. How does chakra healing contribute to cultivating lasting happiness and inner peace for
mm,
everyone?
when you really learn how to access your energy and you are able to shift your state of mind through in a moment, right? That means your happiness is not dependent on how everyone else is treating you, what's going on in the world, or getting what you want. Your happiness is based on something different, right? In
Yes.
terms of facets of happiness, that's what I hope everyone can find, that your happiness is based on something that's inside.
But how,
And I get it all in the external too, but yeah.
but it's difficult for people to get there, right?
Mhm.
It's so difficult for people to get there. But I think people are slowly starting to realize, holistic medicine does help. It supplements what we're doing today. And people have to see different options. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And we do have some studies that show how much state of mind impacts someone's healing process. It can bring so much if you're going through a difficult physical healing journey. Really focusing on that inward can be all the difference.
I completely agree. Lisa Erickson, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jackie. This has been a pleasure. And I love your energy, by the way. So
Oh, thank you. I love yours too. Thank you so much. Well, that's a wrap for today's conversation with the amazing Lisa Erickson. Her insights on chakra healing and empowerment remind us how vital it is to connect with our energy and embrace our power to heal. If you want to dive deeper into her work, be sure to check out her book, Chakra Empowerment for Women, or visit her website for resources on mindfulness, trauma recovery, and energy healing. Thank you for joining us today on this transformative journey. And remember, please, to keep exploring different facets of happiness in your life today. I'm Jackie Denise.